What's up, Matt from Urchfab here. Today's video I'm going to be making a new set of adjustable top strut tops. What I've got here is a eccentric strut top, and this obviously moves the mounting point outwards, and then this has got multiple holes in it. You can rotate it around, and you can get different degrees of adjustment by doing it like that, but it is a pretty basic way of being able to adjust it. And also you have to actually take the bolts out, lift the car up, move it around, bolt it back in. And if you wanted to add additional caster by rotating this back as it spins around, you're also increasing your camber, and the same the opposite way. So it's not really a very good way of adjusting it. You can get camber adjustable ones of these which have the holes in, but again they don't give you much adjustment. I want to create a strut top that has from center to ideally right out to this edge in camber adjustment, but also I want it to be slotted so you can rotate the whole top mount without unbolting anything. So I want to be able to just loosen the bolts off and move this all from the top, so that when I take it to get it aligned properly, it can all be done from the top. At the moment I have my TCA, which I've modified, and then I put I've basically got like an adjustable kind of ball joint here. And then I can adjust camber here, but it means dropping the ball joint out, winding it back out, locking it back down, so I have to keep dropping the ball joint in and out every time. You can get these arms which have adjustment on the inside. The reason I do it from this point out is because the anti-roll bar on these, which I'm still running the standard anti-roll bar, has a dual purpose on the Escorts, in the fact that it's actually the support for the track control arm as well. It's what triangulates it and holds it in place. So when you start adjusting it from this inside point, you're putting a load of tension on the anti-roll bar. And when you see people that have widened the track by adjusting the inside of the TCA from this point by lengthening it, you'll see that their anti-roll bar, when you look down here, is completely bowed in, and they're putting a load of additional stress on the anti-roll bar that shouldn't be on it. So I do my adjustments from the anti-roll bar outwards, and that way this stays just doing what it should, and it's not under any tension. So yeah, so for me to make an adjustment, I would have to adjust camber here and caster at the top, but then if I make an adjustment to the caster at the top, it also affects the camber, so then I have to come back to this and make another adjustment here, which is just a massive pain in the ass. So I want to create a solution to that and make a top mount that does camber and caster all from the top. Right, so I've ended up remaking these. My original plan was to drill and tap these plates, but where it plasma cuts the holes, it hardens the edge of the holes and makes them really hard to drill. And then the smaller the drill, it's not so bad with bigger stuff, but basically the small drill bit, you know, just kept dulling the drill bit. So I decided I'll just weld some nuts on the back. These are my bearings, which are just spherical bearing with a case in, little circlip sits in there, pretty cheap. That will be welded into this piece. There's my adjustment that way, and then obviously we've got slots to adjust that way, so we can go any which way from centre to fully out we need to go, so then we've got full adjustment. So that's basically that. You need to weld the nuts on, weld that into that, and then for the back edge of this, because I want to be able to just adjust everything from the top. I don't want to have to get underneath to get to nuts on the back of here. So what I'm going to do is have a ring that sits around the back of there with the bolts with 3 nuts welded onto the back of it. So it will just, when you loosen it off, it will just float on the back, and then you'll be able to just loosen it off, rotate this around in its slots. And the only time you'd have to take it out is if you wanted to go past one of these notches to the next one. Then you would have to take the bolts out from the top, spin this around, and then put them back in past one of these notches. Right, so all that it's going to do is mean that once that ring is underneath on the other side, you can just loosen the bolts off, spin it around and then tighten it back up. You're not going to have to get underneath and hold a spanner on it to make adjustments. You can just lock them off, twist it around slightly, nip them back up. All your adjustments can be done from the top. Oh, that little corner there just hits the inside of my stop ring, so I need to take the edge off of those a little bit. Right, so that's it, bolted in. You see how that would adjust. So these bolts do hit the inside of that, so I can't quite get to the centre, so needs a little bit of a redesign. So I changed the drawing and basically moved these bolt holes up a little bit so that you get the full amount of travel, and it doesn't, I've lost about 5 mil of travel from these hitting, but that's that's basically how that's going to work. If you want to rotate it further than that, then obviously you have to take the bolts out and move it along a slot. I know that my sort of point to work from was roughly about there, so it's going to make my fine adjustments a lot easier to do. And yeah, I'm happy with that. I just need to machine up some new spacers on the lathe and turn down this a little bit, because this bearing is a slightly different size. And that one's just over 19, so I need to take just under a millimetre off of that, so it'll fit in there, and then make another spacer to go from the bottom of that onto the strut. Alright, so I've had a bit of a redesign, and I've moved these holes up and made this whole piece a bit shorter this way, 5 mil. Made these slots 5 mil shorter so that I can get the full travel without it hitting the it was hitting here on the bolts. I've also made these slots a lot bigger, so you've got a lot more travel which you can work with, and then I've done them offset, so these slots are offset so that if these slots were like dead in the middle and you ended up wanting to put your bolt dead in the middle, then you've got no way of doing it. But having them offset a little bit, if I wanted the bolt to be exactly where that is, if I flip this plate over, it's going to sit the way this one is. So, you know, if I want the bolt there, I've just got to flip the plate over, and then I've got a gap to have it. So by doing it offset, it means I have access to the whole, I can put it in any position in 360 degrees. I've got more rotation once it's in place. It's just a better design, and I'm not going to recut it or anything, but I think I'll probably knock up a few sets of these and try and sell a couple. So this will be the new design for it. So just made these little bushes on the lathe, turn these down. So these are now ready to bolt in. I'm happy with that. So I can take this over to the alignment shop, and should make getting the alignment done really quick and easy. So there we go. That was quite a fun little project actually. So obviously making anything like that would be pretty much impossible without a CNC plasma table. And if you want to win yourself one of those, exact same setup that I've got a raffle going where you can win yourself an extreme plasma table for £10 for a ticket. Worldwide postage is included. And yeah, you could have yourself a CNC plasma table. So there's still only 435 tickets sold so far, so really good odds at the moment. So if you want to try and win yourself a plasma table, all the details for that are in the description or on my website, urchfab.com. That's going to be it for this one. Cheers for watching. See you on the next one.